Linebacker is the most difficult position in all of sports. I know that's a hot take, but let's think about what linebackers are asked to do every single week. You are asked to take on offensive linemen in the trenches who are simply a higher weight class than you are. But at the same time, you're asked to play in coverage against wide receivers or tight ends that are far faster and more shifty than you. Linebackers are always the wrong size. They're too small in run defense and too big in coverage. And to make matters worse, modern offenses have realized that linebackers are the weakness in almost every secondary, so they've began to attack them with over-the-middle passes, play action, and RPOs. Enter Tyrice Knight. The Seahawks drafted Knight in the 4th round of this year's draft, and so far this preseason he has had an up and down time, but I think he's really shown some promise, so let's dig in. Let's begin with this play that, to me, highlights how well Knight already understands his assignments in zone coverage. The Chargers start in a 2x2 formation and then motion to a 3x1, and this prompts an adjustment from the defense. Let's break this coverage down because this is something we're going to see a lot from Mike Macdonald. To the field side, the Seahawks are running Stubby. Stubby is a coverage popularized by Nick Saban himself that is ran in the NFL and all the way down to the high school ranks. It is a man-match concept, which means that it is man coverage with some extra rules and steps to make it more resilient. This coverage is great against trips, and Macdonald loves to use these man-match coverages because they are an excellent balance of the aggressiveness of man and the safety of zone. In Stubby, you simply lock the outside corner to his man. Yes, this is a straight one-on-one, but as we'll see, the corner has the sideline to one side and a mess of defenders inside of him, so that really does give him adequate help. Moving inside, the Seahawks have a triangle. The linebacker forms one point of the triangle by taking inside leverage on the number 3 receiver to that side. He has anything short and inside. The field safety is capping the number 3 by playing over the top, and capping simply means that you have the vertical from that player. So if the number 3 is running a go or a seam, the linebacker doesn't have to try to run that down. That is the safety's responsibility. And this unlocks the linebacker to play rather aggressively underneath without concerning himself with getting beat over the top. And this is part of those man-match principles where it is man coverage technically, but he has dedicated help right over the top. But now let's look at the third corner of this triangle because this was a rough play for Artie Burns. First of all, he's supposed to be playing with outside leverage, meaning he's outside or closer to the sideline than the receiver, because he has no help towards the sideline, but a bunch of help inside. I totally understand that the motion makes this difficult to achieve, but this is simply way too much space. Then to make matters worse, Burns actually passes off this receiver to no one. He was supposed to carry the number 2 receiver here as you do in Stubby, but instead he mistakenly passes him off to open space. It was a really rough play, but luckily it did go unpunished. Now let's move over to the boundary side where Tyrice Knight is. One of the strengths of Stubby is that it unlocks a host of backside coverages because you still have 3 defenders over 2 eligibles. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do on the backside of these 3x1s, but here the Hawks are pretty simple. This is what Saban calls tough. Tough is a way that you can cover this backside of these concepts with really only 2 guys. The safety is assigned to come down and incidentally provide some inside help to that corner if you're facing any kind of quick slant or dig route. But his primary job is to cover the running back if he releases to the flat. I think you might have noticed that we haven't really talked about Knight yet, and that is because he's really a bonus player in this coverage. He is allowed to survey the field and pick up work, and pick up work he does. If we switch to this in-zone camera, we can see just how quickly Knight processes all of the information in front of him. He begins by watching the quarterback to see if this is run or pass. Remember, linebackers are primarily concerned with the run, and then they can go drop back into their coverage. Once he establishes that this is a pass, he drops back and then sneaks a look towards the front side of the coverage, just to make sure there's no quick underneath route coming his way. After that, he gets his eyes back to the quarterback and sees that the ball is about to come out. He is driving on this running back screen before the ball even leaves the quarterback's hands, and that is what allows him to get there so quickly. This screen is really well designed by the Chargers as they're able to get a blocker out in front, so that really leaves Knight as the only player able to make this tackle. This is 3rd and 6 in a critical situation, and an open field tackle on a running back, that's not easy, but Knight really does make it look easy. This is a great play, and honestly figuring out where the ball is going, getting there quickly, and making the tackle, that is most of what you want from your linebackers in coverage. But to be clear, there are still plenty of plays where Knight just looked like a rookie. Let's look at this play where the Hawks are in a simple cover 1 hole look and Knight isn't quick enough to run with the crosser. Is this an easy assignment? Absolutely not. Again, linebacker is almost impossible to play well. He has to read if this is a run, but by the time he realizes that this was play action, it's just too late. The processing that is required to make this play is simply not going to come for a while, and that's not his fault. That's just a demonstration of why linebacker is so tough. But I am hopeful that Knight will be able to develop into a great coverage linebacker. He has the speed that you need, he has the acceleration, I think his zone feel is pretty decent already, and his man coverage skills are not even that bad. I was really impressed by what he put on tape for his first preseason game. And again, yes, I am mostly talking about upside here. I think this year he is going to be a liability in coverage just because of that lack of experience. But once the game slows down a bit for him, I think he has everything that you need to be really good. We just need to see the development. In the run defense department, Knight was very hit or miss. On this play, he shows you everything that you want from your run defending linebackers in this system. Going back to the intro, you are always the wrong size as a linebacker, and being an elite run defender in the modern NFL is mostly about diagnosing the run quickly and being slippery around blockers, because linebackers really can't go through them anymore. Here the Chargers are running some version of power. Power is simply when you have the entire line down block, and then you have one of the guards kick out the edge to create a lane. And this looks really good for the Chargers. They have an offensive lineman working up to Knight, and it looks like Radigan, the other linebacker, is washed out of the play. But Tyrice Knight blows up this play by himself. He uses his quickness to sidestep the offensive lineman, and then is able to square up for the tackle. This is everything that you want from your linebackers. He was able to quickly diagnose that this is a run and get around the blockers to make the sure tackle. To me, this is the clip that tells me that Knight absolutely can be a good run defending linebacker in the NFL. But then there's clips like these where he gets completely blown out of the play. Your defense is going to quickly fall apart if your linebackers are getting moved this easily, and honestly, this showed up on tape multiple times. This really is, to me, the biggest problem in his game, and if he can't get this fixed, there really is a limit to his ceiling as a run defender. There are undersized linebackers who are actually pretty good against the run. I think the Hawks actually have 2 of them on their roster right now, but Tyrice Knight needs to learn how to at least hold up when the linemen get to him if he wants to be a good run defender. I know that Knight is just a 4th round rookie, but I think that the Seahawks are really relying on him. Maybe not for this year, but the Hawks starting linebackers are here on only 1-year deals. While I really do like this approach of signing solid starters to short-term deals and then drafting a guy to develop, for this position I think that makes a ton of sense to cheaply rebuild your room, but the Seahawks really do need to develop Knight quickly. Best case scenario, you're able to move on from one of your starters this offseason and Knight can step into that role. Have I seen that on tape yet? Not really. The upside is undeniable, and he does have some really high-level linebacking plays. I also love his mentality. I think that hit that he had against the Titans is just a great example of the player that he is and the player that he can be. But again, linebacker is such a difficult position because you can't just flash elite plays. You need to be consistent, and honestly, Knight is a really long ways away from being consistent. I am hopeful for his future, and I think that he could be a starting level linebacker in year 2 or year 3, but I think this year he will probably struggle. That is par for the course for linebackers, but maybe in a year or 2, Tyrice Knight could be a decent starter, which, trust me, at linebacker, that is no small feat. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more Legions of 12 content, please like and subscribe to join this community. This month's Patreon exclusive video diving into the tape of Christian Haynes is also out, and I'm really excited about Christian Haynes. So that just went up as well. Link in the description if you want to check it out. Thanks so much for watching, and go Hawks.